All right, I'm here with my good friend Nick Cavuoto.
What's
Welcome
up,
to the
Jake?
show, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Dude.
Glad to be here.
I was just telling you, I don't even know how to introduce you. You're so many things. Pastor, coach, you've coached me on things. You're a fractional CEO, whatever that means. You work in the social media world, helping people leverage their brand. You help people just create their brand from zero to nothing. You've helped me and my brand, for example. You help them go from zero to nothing in social media and the scalability, growth. You work with big partnerships, guys like Michael Chandler. You know, you're doing a lot in the schools as well in Nashville, Tennessee, which is where we're at the Black Diamond Club event in Nashville. There's a lot you're doing. Dude, where do we begin? What do you want to talk about?
A life that is unexamined is one that is not worth living. And I think a lot of people are in seasons of their life where they're going through an evolution and trying to figure out what's next, or how do I leverage my greatest skill sets. Gallup did a poll last year. Out of 1 billion people in the world, they polled them and said, basically, like, how satisfied are you with the work that you're doing?
Yeah.
Out of 1 billion people, 770 million people said they hate what they do every day. So they're either actively disengaged,
Yep.
and it's a detracting experience for them and the organization, or they're quiet quitting, which just means they're extremely inefficient and they have no desire to be there.
Yeah.
So 23% of people in the world out of this poll love what they do every day. And so for me, I was like, wow, that is shocking. And I said, at that time, I'm reflecting, going like, which group am I a part of? And so I realized, like, I have so many different skill sets and capabilities because I've had to learn mastery as an entrepreneur. You got to figure it out. There's so much figuring it out. And then in the information age, so I grew up obviously millennial, like in the information age, I've had access to so much information that my level of mastery in multiple different disciplines is so extreme. You know, in our parents' generation, it's like you become an accountant, you do it for 40 years, and you don't do anything else. They didn't have access to information.
Yeah.
Now, between the internet and information, they say that people have a poly skill set. So they have 5 areas of mastery. So that's why I think when people do one thing, like if I was just like, I love doing digital advertising. Well, that's only 20% of me. Like, what about the other 80%? And so I've just started figuring out, like, I want to be positioned where I can leverage all of my skills and all of my experiences to help the people who I feel like I'm supposed to help. So through discovery, 100 therapy sessions, 80 personality tests, I've done every career assessment you could possibly find. I realized I just help people win. And so it's about me, and that's really a dictation of my name. Nicholas means victory of the people. So as much as I went on like this whole exploration journey, which I truly believe is for others, like I learned things to then be able to share with other people.
Yeah.
It came down to just the identity that I was given and who God called me to be, which is to be a champion for other people. So now I sense, like, does this opportunity feel right to me? I don't put myself in a box of like, I only can do this thing, or I only can do that thing, or I'm only this type of person, only that type of person. I just open my hands and say, God, just bring the people in my life that you feel that I'm supposed to help. And if there's resonance there and I feel called to step into their life in that moment, I can leverage whatever skill set that I have in order to do that.
Yeah. You know, another thing that you do that I left out there's more that I left out, but like big companies, like I know some of the people that you work with, they give you billions of dollars, billions with a B, to manage their money and appropriate their money correctly. Yeah. And you don't do that unless you have a lot of trust and you've developed leadership to get there. How do you think you have gained that trust, and how have you developed those leadership skills that no one else is going to get that?
Yeah. Well, I think that there is a trust equation, and it's about credibility, reliability, and deep connection. I'll say it again, trust equation, credibility, reliability, and deep connection. And that's all essentially divided by your own self-orientation of how you view being credible, of how you view, being reliable or having deep connection with others. So I think there's a match there in like skill set and also like culture. I always say when like I'm hiring people inside my organization, I look for number one, are they a good hang? Which again is like all the soft stuff and it's like none of the hard stuff. It's like that's got to be number one, because if I enjoy spending time with you, then we'll be able to get a lot more accomplished. There's more longevity in the culture of what we're doing and the reason why and the values and all those things. So I think that's a big important piece, and it's also timing. So anything outside of the trust equation is also being in the right place at the right time, which I think is divine, and it's just the way that life works. But when I'm sitting at the boardroom of a $4 billion company and the CEO is going, how the hell do we use this social media stuff? That's because I was the youngest guy in the organization. I was 26. The next youngest person was twice my age. And I was just kind of like the kid who knew how to work the remote, you know? So that's what's fascinating.
Yeah.
And then, then you develop a reputation, and then those people go to different companies and they know that you're an assassin. So they're like, freaking, I want to grab this dude who knows what he's doing, bring him into the mix. So it's relationships, it's trust. And I think those are the primary things, man. And then just results. I mean, at the end of the day, you got to get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm hell bent on that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
in
you
my
are.
DNA. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so interesting you said that. When I interviewed Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher, he talks about in his book, You, he said, you have to stay in miracle territory. And what he meant by that is like, talking about that drive, that win, if you disassociate yourself or you lose a little traction and then you wither away, you isolate, you depress, whatever, you're taking yourself out of miracle territory. And he talked about the importance of always staying in that miracle territory, living in that miracle. And it sounds like that's kind of what you're talking about. Like, I just always kept putting myself in the miracle territory, like, because people call it luck. I don't believe in that.
Yeah, no.
But you kept doing something to do the right thing, and that's why your name just kept coming up, I'm sure, and now here you are now.
Yeah. Proximity is deadly when it comes to business. Like, if you want to be really damn good, everything comes down to proximity. And I spent, a decade working within the four walls of my office and not really being out with people as much as I wanted to. And so I can see the disparity between the early rise and then the last 5 years of my career, and looking at the middle, and that middle section of being really isolated was where I think I lost a lot of connection, a lot of opportunity. But also it was like I had different priorities at that time and I was figuring it out. Like, we all go through a journey to solve it, and you don't value it as much until you know what the other side is like. And so I know what it's like to be isolated, trying to figure it out on your own and just like toughing it out.
Yeah.
But alignment is so much better than hustle. And you got to be aligned with the right people, not just with the right skill set, the right offers and all those other things, but you've got to be aligned with the right people too.
Yeah. Speaking of being a jack of all trades, which we were just talking about, which you have all of these things, and that can be a very positive thing. But also you see a lot of people, then they're doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They're dabblers. They're not mastering anything. Yeah. And that usually actually takes away from their overall message. We were just talking about like, how do you balance that? Because I don't know how you've masterfully done, and I know all the things you're doing, being your friend. I know all the things, and I'm like, how does he do it all and do it well? Yeah. Have you been able to concoct a skill of like why you're able to do it? Because yes, there's that passion in you that allows you to be like, I love just doing all these things, and don't label me. Like you said, I love that, what you talk about. Don't label me. Yeah. This is let me tell you who I serve. Yeah. I love that message. Yeah. But regardless, man, you can be fired up to serve everybody. If you're doing too much over here and you're doing too much over there, you may not get anywhere. Yeah. But I feel like that doesn't affect you. You seem to be getting where you want to go.
It's proximity. It's being the most trusted person in the room, and that opens up the capabilities and skill sets for me to leverage to get proximity to the people that I want to help. And then it's just the ball continues to roll down the hill. More opportunity, more things that can be accomplished. So it's like I just don't go too far out. It's really trusting the internal sense of what I feel is the right thing. And then that's the gift that keeps on giving. When you're recognized for things that you don't want to be recognized for, that's where all of the burnout and the frustration comes in, and the bad clients and just all the garbage in life. And I've just learned my operating system is to just trust the process. It's a trust me. It's not a here's exactly how it should be. I have bent the rules of intelligence because I believe Albert Einstein said intuition is the highest form of intelligence. So for me, if I want to make the best decision for me, based on the way that I'm wired, I want to use my intuition. Is this the right thing in the right season, the right time for me to do what it is I'm supposed to do? And I spend a lot of time trying to complicate and really create this whole, if it's the funnel and it's all these steps and I got to be known for this thing. Alan Weiss wrote a book in the 90s, the 7-Figure Consulting Bible. And he said, first you'll be known as being a specialist, but until you hit 7 figures, then you'll be known as a generalist. So that's the funny thing. Yeah. I have people more rely on me for, you're the guy who I trust to solve the problem, than you're the guy who works with this niche, doing this thing in this way to get this predictable outcome. I've already done that. I'm almost 20 years at this point into my career, so I don't have to play by the same rules of being a new point of entry. The results, my relationships, they speak for themselves.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I was just, I had applied recently for a job at Tony Robbins' organization. Yeah. And I haven't applied for a job in 20 years because I was I was a police officer for 15 years. I have my own coaching business now for the last 4 years. So I don't even know what it's like to apply. And when they ask you these questions, we need these requirements, I'm like, I have so many skills that I've developed from over 300 plus podcast episodes, a
Yeah.
coaching business. I don't even know how to like describe some of these skills, and it almost sounds like your experience. I'm hearing the same thing from you. It's like if someone were to ask for your resume, you're like, I don't really know, but like,
Yeah.
here's what I've done, who's who I've served, and these are all the relationship capital that I've created.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and that's how I can help you.
Yeah.
You're not applying for jobs. People are telling you we need this problem solved, and you just solve it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, in some ways, some people would say, well, you could do so much more if you just focus on one thing. I'm like, well, I have done that, and it wasn't fulfilling. I have done that, and it awarded me a business fracture where my business partner pieced out, took the whole business with him. Just horrible. I went $300,000 in debt when I was making 180 grand a month profit. And that happened like that. Lost my best friend.
Wow.
You know, so like the funny thing is in my story, in the ecosystem that I've created, I've done the thing where I just work with the one person doing the one thing, and it's scalable. Yes, it's very, very clear and concrete. But I also don't want to be defined by that. Just like TD Jakes, he's like,
Yeah.
I'm a pastor, I'm a father, I'm a grandfather, I'm a producer, I'm a songwriter, you don't realize how painful it is to be labeled until they call you one thing and they put you in the prison of it. And that's what I experienced for myself. So I just punted the whole concept, and I said, God, just put me in front of the right people, and I just let the process be the process. And if there's something I can help them with, I will. And they're like, where did you come from? And I'm just like, I don't know. My lead generation strategy is to trust God. It makes no sense. It's not supposed to make sense, but it works for me.
Goes back to the intuition and Einstein.
Yeah, totally. It's just what works for me. And I tell everybody, like, the whole coaching industry, you got to do this thing, you got to have this funnel, great. That's wonderful. If that works for you. Would I be more wealthy? Could I do more whatever? Maybe, but money's not everything to me. I love the magic of meeting the right people and being able to leverage my skill sets and abilities in order to create a meaningful difference in their life. I love the synchronicity of like, how the hell did we find you? To me, that's what makes it exciting for me.
Yeah. So speaking of that, what are you excited about now? What are the projects? What are the things that you're working on right now that's lighting you up that you're pumped about?
Well, I would say this, at the core, if people really drill me hard, it's like, what are you actually doing on a daily basis? I'm an advisor. It's the best way to think about it. So I'm advising people, and then sometimes I'll also grab the hammer and I'll use it. If it's one of the things I have a superpower with, then that's fine, and I'll choose to do that. But it really comes from an advisory angle first. So people will ask me questions, how do I solve this problem? How do I do this thing? And then we go into like, okay, here's how you do it. You want me to tell you how to do it, or you want me to help you do it and partner with you on it? So that's what I've been doing. So right now I'm working with 𝘮𝘮𝘯. So I'm the head of ops for them. So I'm really actually running the entire organization of 𝘮𝘮𝘯. Extremely talented Adley Kinsman. She's one of the most talented content creators in the world. She gets over 2 billion views a month on her content. We're getting hit up by every major influencer, including presidential campaigns right now, to build viral content for them.
Shocking.
So it's insane. I mean, Land Rover Airheads, Charmin, just name any high-level influencer in the entrepreneur space, every single one of them we're having conversations with right now. Seriously. Name the top 10. It's already happening.
Yeah.
So it's really, really wild. And because people are struggling to get attention. So when you have Adley, she's a true honeybee. It's like she's going to go out there and do what she does and capture this attention from people. And she's so freaking talented at what she does. When she brings it home, she really needs someone to help her shoulder the vision. So like an EOS would be like an integrator, an implementer. And that's super fun because I built 4 agencies. I know that world. And on the other side, she has her personal brand, which is translating to thought leadership, masterminds, coaching, consulting, courses. And I've done all of that too. So it's like the perfect mix. And so I'm helping her build that. So it's been really exciting.
When I hear what you're talking about, those projects, and just that one example you just gave is just the synchronicity.
Yep.
Because like you said, and I know your background, you've done all of that already. So like you bring someone and her into your fold, perfect. Like this is already going to work because I'm going to lead you to where you're at. You're doing that great, great. And I know how to tack on now and now broaden everything that she's already built, which is so cool. So yeah.
And for her, I just know, and I can see it, for her to stay elevated, above the line activities, to go out there to encourage, to inspire, to allow people the opportunity to see what's possible because she's done it. She feels a certain level of indebtedness. It's like, God gave me this incredible gift. Like, I've got to share it with people. And I'm like, yeah, and I'll create the infrastructure behind you to make sure that you can do that in a better, faster, stronger way.
Yeah.
Is that on a resume? No.
Yeah.
Did she meet the right person who spent 4 hours with her for half a day, and said, here's what needs to be done differently, and here's some of the areas of opportunity, and here's where I can help support you. It was like, it's like a match made in heaven. It's like making s'mores.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I've been doing that, which is awesome. Short Form Empire is a company I invested into this past year. So our buddy Nick Lauer.
Yeah.
So that's been huge. We're absolutely explosively growing. I mean, I've already done this in content agencies before. The last content agency I built, we went from 0 to 125 clients in 4 months. So we're on a trajectory that's very, very strong. And in addition to the strength and the growth of that, we're starting to collaborate with more and more high-level people. We have the halo effect of everything that we're doing, and then it's folding into that. So I'm excited about both of those things, and then collaborating with you, putting the right people on has been a lot of fun. But I have made peace with allowing and understanding that the personal success that I experience happens on behalf of the people who I help. All the lessons I learned, it's for them. It's like, learned it all. I always said I just want to give without expectation of return. Well, now I'm really seeing the beauty of that, because the hard things I've gone through, the challenges, the late nights, the trying to figure it out, all of that is in service to the people who I'm collaborating and supporting right now. So this is a big redemption hour for me, big redemption hour. And so that's been beautiful, man. So, yeah.
It's so funny you say that. As you were speaking, I was just thinking about watching you at VCon. I think it was last year. We were at VCon together, Gary Vaynerchuk's event. And I saw you, and you had a camera in your hand, and you were out there. Now, you're not a camera guy.
Yeah.
But you had a camera, and you were over there filming. I said, Nick, what are you doing? You said, oh, I'm grabbing content from Michael Chandler, the MMA superstar champion. I said, why? And you said, well, he didn't have anybody. He didn't have his team, so I just figured I'd pick it up. Back to your point, there was no ulterior motive. There was no, I'm going to get in good with Michael.
Yeah.
No, it was just like, he needed a problem solved, and I'm just going to be of service, not expecting anything in return, just because. And I don't know what's come of that, but I know you and Michael have a bond, and I've seen some of the work you guys have done on social media. But again, just the point being is like, I'm just serving, man. I'm like, this guy needs help in this moment. There's nobody else to do it for him. I pick up a camera and we're gonna rock and roll.
Totally.
And I, when you go to like an event like VCon or something, there's a big networking, like, and I meet people. You shelved all of that.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm not here to meet like, this guy needs my help. I'm gonna help him. I don't even know Michael. Like, I'm just here to. I mean, I know of him, but like, I'm here to help. That's it. Serve. So serving, to your point, man.
Yeah, serving is both spiritual and strategic, And so for me, I didn't need anything. I didn't even know how I'd help him. He already has an entire content team.
Yes.
But it's one of those things where working with enough high-level people, I know that those people don't just want video. They want leaders around them who can solve problems. Period. That's what I know to do best. That's like, if you're the best guy in the world at making grilled cheese sandwiches, and these kids say, I want grilled cheese sandwiches, you're like, I got you. That's what I do. For me, I learned reading The Fractional CMO, which is an incredible book. Casey Stanton wrote it. He says, you're not solving a marketing problem, you're solving a leadership problem. And I've always known this. I didn't have the context, the words to string it all together. And that's what I figured out, is like, that's why it's hard to define exactly what I do. I help people win. In what way? Well, I don't know, in life, in their personal, spiritual, and business world, and all three, because I deal with the human. So it's like, okay, well, what do you help them do? It's like, make a lot of money, help a lot of people have a lot of fun. Okay, cool. Well, what does that look like? I'm the greatest fucking ally you could ever have. Great. So you tell me your problem, and then I will tell you how we can solve it, right?
Yeah.
So I think those are part of the concepts of what we learn, is like, it's showing up, it's being the most trusted person in the room, it's noticing the things. I pay attention to so much detail. When I had a client, we were doing a project down in Fort Lauderdale together, and she's like, cracks open a Coke, and she's like, oh, shit, I forgot my straw. 25 people around her, and most of them were her team. So I'm there, my guys are filming, and I just don't even say anything. I just walk out of the room. I walk to a restaurant across the street. I go get her a straw. I come back, and I hand her the straw, and she's just like, are you serious? And I'm like, that's what we do. Scale the unscalable, do the things, pay attention to the things that no one else is paying attention to. And the first job I ever had was I was an executive assistant. So I know how to support people who are up to things that are meaningful. You have to be a leader, which means a person who's capable of solving problems without the person having to ask them to solve it. The simplicity in it is wild, but most people, I got to go build the funnel. I got to go do the thing. Nope. You got to show up and be of service. That is so much better than having to sell. It's showing up and serving. And when I do that, it changes my heart, It puts me in the right place, so I never have to sell.
Yeah, that's so true. I can think of all the times in my life when I don't think about the outcome. I just think about the process and serving. Always it works out for the better.
Always.
I'm always more creative. And I remember learning that early on too. It's like if you get stuck in life, people when they get stuck, it's because they're not creating. You want to create, go be of service.
Yeah.
Go do something for someone else. Expect nothing. And you will get out of your stuck state for sure.
And you'll see this in your business, and I'll encourage you to do this as well, because this is what I do every day. If you want to grow your business, encourage 5 people a day. And that's something that I learned post-COVID. I lost $1 million in 2 days of recurring revenue, and I had to figure out what was next. I said, God, this is your problem, number one. Second, I called my mentor and said, what the hell do I do? And he said, dude, with this climate and everything that's happening, I have no idea. Just go encourage 5 people a day. He said it like spitting it out. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me, dude?
This
and
is the best you have for me?
This is the best you have right now? And he's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, dude. That's just what I feel is right for you. I said, okay. I went and did it for 35 days, and I closed $500,000 in a week in coaching. None of the people who I encouraged bought. None of them. Because going on Instagram and sending someone, a 30-second to a 1-minute voice note that said, hey, listen, man, I just want you to know you're doing so much better than you think you are. I'm cheering you on. I'm here for you. I'm supporting you. Keep crushing it. Keep doing your thing. The world is starving for a sense of encouragement. Dr. Jordan Peterson talks about it all the time. If you want to be relevant in the next 20 years, encourage people and talk about personal responsibility. So I took on the personal responsibility myself to be of contribution through words of encouragement, which is the deployment of courage, which on a frequency scale is directly in the middle. If you can give someone courage, which you have to have yourself, because you can't give something you don't have. You embed courage in someone else's heart, and it puts them above the frequency line of negativity and positivity. It's the point of transit. I learned it all after, because I studied it going, why the hell did this work so well? And I also learned that I didn't have to sell anything. I showed up and I served. It changed me, not the outcome of the other people, detached from the outcome. But it did something internally for me that changed everything.
Yeah.
So my content was different. The messages I sent to people were different. I was probably talked about different. And the list goes on. So if you want to grow your business, encourage 5 people a day.
So good. So good. And it reminds me of that book, The Power Versus Force, where it talks about the levels of the frequency. And like you're saying, if you can get over that one, the positive, negative, courage is in the middle. So if you can get over courage, that's the point of transition. So good.
So encourage 5 people a day.
The highest frequency is love, right?
The highest frequency, obviously, in enlightenment, but it's love and joy. Yeah.
Love and joy, yeah. Okay, cool. I know you got to run, man.
Yeah, man.
This was so cool. If people are excited and they're just listening to this and they're like, man, I got to reach out to this guy. I don't know how he can help me, but everything he's saying, there's somewhere, let's see if we can fit some synchronicity into our lives.
Totally,
there's somewhere in my life. Where can they reach out to you, learn more about you, all the things that you're doing?
IG, my website, whatever, everywhere online at Nick Cavuoto.
So Nick Cavuoto everywhere and on the handles and then the website, everything. Nick Cavuoto.
Just hit me up and say, yo, I saw you with Joel, I need help. The greatest compliment, like David tells us, the greatest compliment is that you could ever give someone is to ask for help. So I always take that as a very real thing when someone asks for my help. It's a divine opportunity where God's going, hey, there's a door open for you to invest in someone's life and to change something for them and to be a meaningful contribution. So I see it as a gift, not as an annoyance. Some people are like, I don't want to annoy you, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, this is my greatest thing that I could do. So please annoy me.
That's why David actually gives his phone number out too.
Totally.
Where some people will be like, I'm not gonna give my number out. You know how many people are gonna hit you up and bother you?
Yeah.
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. It's a lead for him.
You can always say no.
You
can always say no. It's just an opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Amazing. Nick Cavuoto, I appreciate
Thank you, brother.
Thanks for being on the show.
Appreciate you, man. Yeah.